Lil Wayne come out with that video where he was, because you talking about Pharrell. They did that whole thing, that Converse thing, right? But I ain't even talking about that. Lil Wayne used to wear them and talk, but he's a skater boy kind of. He was doing that thing.
Yeah, but he got that from Wiz, bro.
Maybe he did.
Because Wiz used to be like Chuck Taylor.
You mean Wiz Khalifa?
Yeah.
No, man, this predated Wiz Khalifa, dog. I remember this when Lil Wayne started wearing, like, he started.
But Lil Wayne started skating after he came out of jail.
Yeah,
this around the same time?
Maybe around the same time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. But for whatever reason, them things going up, and they know they're wrong for that. Imagine you being the dude who just... Okay, so where am I looking? I could look anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. Oh, yes. Yeah. Sound like a arm trying to grab you, boy. He said. And we're live.
All right, so
I'll look at you when we're talking.
Testing 1 2
1 2 1 2.
Is this up? Yeah. 1 1 1 1 1.
Okay. Hello. My name is Maz.
Testing 1 2 3.
1 2 1 2. Hey.
So let's watch me. Watch All right. The Feast of Resistance. Are we recording?
Yeah.
We recording? Yeah. Oh.
All right.
So we were readjusting the mic. Cameras rolling. And you know, this is just a cold opening. We here.
Do what you gotta do, man.
We here on another day, another time. We have so much. We actually have a crowd today because it's like, you know, we always like to have the party in the backyard. But we have a very special guest. I met this fellow. I think we officially met when I was shooting you with Ernestia for her tutorial series on our website.
Yes, that was some time back.
Yeah, this was like 2019. Could you believe that it's almost been 2 years since we've been in the panorama?
It doesn't feel that long, but yeah.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Yeah. Like, you know, because it's like I saw I was looking through emails I sent out earlier today, and I was like, it's crazy how I was pitching to people for like sponsorship opportunities and telling them how much numbers I have and how exponentially they're growing since then. So it's like, I can't believe that was like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, man.
But, you know, but we always like to do things like this just to have a little intro for that 2-minute mark for YouTube purposes. And then we always jump into the intro. Welcome to Erryting Kool.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
The tourists come over to chill on the beach, but they don't come over the hill where we sleep. We got nightmares and they got fantasies. No sanity, it's just insanity. My mommy hoping nothing happens to me.
And then that's where we cut, obviously. So, it's me again. Welcome to another episode of Erryting Kool. It's Lord Jalen Willard, the Negus of Nassau, St. Anton Alexander at your service, joined by the party in the backyard.
Yes, with more than one person this time.
More than one, we have been growing.
Going, man.
Let's let special guest.
I go. It's your boy Chris in the building. What's going on?
Chris is in the building.
And it's me, P. Giovanni, a.k.a. PG, a.k.a. PG13, a.k.a. PG13, a.k.a. your favorite non-bay, a.k.a. hidden in plain sight, a.k.a. too many a.k.a.
A.k.a. Mario if you ask the kids. That's funny. We game set up here, and like the kids are over there like, where's Mario? Where's Mario? I was like, yo, we be doing too much crazy things at this beautiful place. We have some other guests, but they ain't Ned and Mike, but we can introduce them later.
Shout out to Janelle.
Shout out to Janelle.
Yeah.
And that's it. And shout out to our guest for the day. Please introduce yourself.
Maz Joachin. Yeah. If you're watching this, you probably know who he is. I don't know.
Yes.
Hopefully, you know,
Yeah,
right?
hopefully. I guess that's the
Hopefully
point.
you know.
Yeah.
And we're about to get into the world of Maz. Actually, I love the first name of Maz because it's like that's your real name, or that's
Yeah,
just
that's my real. It's like Prince.
Mm.
If I drop the Joachin, Maz, babe.
Just Maz. All right. So Maz, we have a tradition on this show.
Okay.
Every episode we have a little segment called the Bahamian word, phrase, or saying of the day.
Okay.
And we always give that privilege to our guests.
Mm.
Go right ahead.
So I get to.
Yeah, you get to tell us the Bahamian word, phrase, or
that I
saying.
like that I
Yeah.
use all the time.
And now, mind you, we already had 71. Well, this is going to
Okay.
be episode 71. So we've had a lot of different word, phrases, or saying.
I got one that I know y'all ain't got. This,
All right.
This can show my age a little bit too.
All right.
I don't even think Baby just say this no more. Anyone remember the word spongling?
Spongling. No.
Nobody remember
No,
that. Nobody know.
I remember hearing it, but I ain't had it in probably
you-
15 years, bro.
Exactly.
Right.
But that
Yeah.
was a thing. When you was
Spongling.
going out, you'd be like, "By going spongling."
Yeah.
Y'all, you remember that? I know y'all remember this, man.
Yeah.
This is old school Bahamian saying. Because I was
Spongling.
thinking like, what could I say? But I was like, no, they low hanging fruit, man. Everybody know boy, man.
Dang.
Yeah.
So why? I want to go way back.
Spongling.
I go and
Well,
spongling.
wait. Christina gave us the last time.
It was something about juicing.
Yeah,
I
something
can't-
about.
I can't remember.
Yeah, like
I can't remember the word was.
yeah. But we getting all the old terms soon. I
Right,
can come
yes.
with Oh yeah, wonks. Yeah,
Wonk.
we wonksing.
That's
And I was like, bro, I ain't had these things from since
Wow,
like
that's older than
primary
my
school or
word.
something like that.
Yeah.
So wonksing,
you pull it up
spongling.
quick. That's
Yeah,
good.
man.
So for our international viewers, what is spongling?
Okay, well, spongling is a term that was used. I don't know that they use it, we don't say it anymore, but when you were going out with a group of friends, you going to hang out, you going to vibe out, or you going on a mission. They say mission now, like I going on a mission.
Right.
Yeah.
But back then, the word spongling encapsulated all of that. It could have meant anything. I go into the beach to spongle.
Spongle.
I go and buy the bar, the spongle, right? I go into church to spongle.
Where we bringing back these things, bro? I gonna have a shirt we call once and spongling, bro.
Right.
See, they saying we totally too tilly.
I go and spongle in the one.
I tell you.
Yeah. All right. So,
Yes.
how does the story of Maz start? What is your early influences? What's your early childhood like, and what sort of inspired you to start to think I want to be an artist?
Right.
I be an artist, a multi-level artist.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I guess I would want to start by saying I'm an illustrator, comic book artist, and musician. Just give context.
Layers.
Yeah.
I say multi-level. like,
Give some context to that.
Uh-huh.
And as early as I can remember, I was always drawing comic books in the back of my books with some friends in school. And the thing about that was that came from a place of like hurt because I actually lost my mother at a really young age.
Okay.
And I remember like my earliest memories were drawing to kind of like just, like you dealing with this hurt and you don't really know what to do. So I used to sketch a lot, stuff like that.
Okay.
So when I went to primary school, I linked up with a couple of friends and they were always drawing like X-Men characters. And I was like, man, how y'all doing this? And that's kind of how that started. And that became part of my life, like just drawing. And as I got older, of course, I just kind of kept at it. So that's the earliest memories I have of being an artist.
And that's even almost date you a little bit too, because you say X-Men character.
X-Men,
So you're either talking about the 90s X-Men or X-Men Evolution in the early 2000s.
I'm gonna leave that.
Yeah.
We don't know the time.
Yeah, I can even say because
Right.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
figure it out.
So what primary school, like what was,
Well, that would
Yeah.
have been Aubrey Sales Primary. It was
Okay.
like, and it was like typical government school setting. You had a boiling pot of students, different backgrounds, different things like that. And I guess it was. I think it was a good breeding ground for like that kind of thing. But people drawing like that stuff. And then as we got older, when we got like when we became like sixth graders, like Dragon Ball Z had really taken off. Like anime had taken off because I remember this. It was just like X-Men 80s cartoons, and then it went to like anime.
Yeah.
And we was in the mix of that. Like you wasn't nobody if you wasn't drawing Goku or Trunks. And the thing is, that's how you judge your skill. Man, this Trunks don't look just right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got better like that. So yeah, but anime was a huge influence on us.
Yeah, because I feel like I like around that period because that's when I guess the Toonami, the Midnight Run, and all that stuff, and that nostalgia.
Good stuff.
Like, you know, coming home 3:00 in the afternoon. But yeah,
Telling
bro,
you,
Dragon Ball Z, but they come on.
This,
Rushing
and this
to TV.
predated the internet.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
In
you
the
know,
Bahamas.
In the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But like, I almost want to say it wasn't even the internet wasn't even that
Right, it
accessible
wasn't
to
really
Americans
popular,
even
right.
like because even when you think about like advertisement, right? And I remember this because this was always a funny thing to me when Dragon Ball Z was at its popularity in like over here
In the West.
like we was waiting for like episodes to come out. Obviously, couldn't go online, but they was making like toys that you could buy. And I literally remember we bought this Dragon Ball Z yo-yo, and it had Trunks on it, but Trunks never aired. He was like, "Who this boy is?" Like,
Yeah.
purple hair. Like
That's
we
how
were
it
so
was for
confused,
real.
but we was legit confused, and we was confused for 2 years because it didn't come out until
Yeah.
the following year or so, and it was like, "Oh, that's the boy from the." Yeah,
Nah.
so that's
Right.
to tell you how we had to wait.
Yeah,
You
we
know, you
did.
couldn't.
Yeah, because I remember even in school, I remember they used to be talking about like Broly and Trunks, but I never, these characters never popped up because I only said it because I used to hear, like, watch YouTube videos on YouTube when they was talking about like in the 90s, like when they was waiting for the episodes to come and they would go on the web and sort of, because like, you know, the ocean dub and the fort, like, you know, all that stuff
Yeah.
mix up and things like that
Yeah.
until like Toonami sort of got the run.
And streamline that.
Yeah.
But trust me, that was something. And I mean, it was definitely impactful to us as artists. It kind of helped us figure out how to draw anatomy and things like that. So that was a pretty big deal for us moving forward into our career. And I could get into the stuff that came after, but you know, maybe we could get to that later.
Okay, so going from primary school, obviously in high school, you were taking art classes, and
Absolutely.
so around this time, you are thinking, "Hey, this might be something viable to do as a career."
I mean, I guess I did think about it in the back of my head, but I didn't know how to like say that out loud because you just didn't know what that would look like, especially for me. But I think one moment I had was there was this kid named Michael. I'd never met. No, it was actually two situations. It was Michael and there was Del Rio and Delroy. They were twins. They used to draw too.
Okay,
So with Del Rio and Delroy, I never met someone at the time who was just like, "Oh, I want to be an animator when I grow up." Like nobody said that when I was growing up. You just be like, "I like to draw." But when I met these two kids, they became friends of mine. And we was like, "Hey, what you guys doing?" It's like, "Hey, we want to draw manga." And I was like, "What's a manga?" They explained that to me. And then it's like, "Oh, I want to draw comic books and be a cartoonist when I grow up." So hear someone say, you have to understand how like almost like bold and like, boy,
Impactful.
yeah, Jet. Like, yeah, that's the
yeah.
word. It's like that was such an impactful thing. It's like, man, this you could say something like that because you'd almost be afraid to say that. But these dudes was like rock stars. Yeah, man, we want to draw comics, and it's like, wow. Now I got the confidence to say stuff like that. And then, like Michael was another one. He said he want to make video games, and I was like, what? You could say stuff like that?
Seriously.
why do you think that's so far fetched or was far fetched? I think now it's a little bit more accepted because you seen Bahamians sort of go out on the world stage and do it.
Yeah.
And we can get to that
Yeah,
part
yeah,
on
yeah.
world stage and doing it later.
Right.
But why do you think it was so far fetched at that period? You know, we talking like early to mid 2000s.
Yeah, I think at that point in time, like
Yeah.
saying something like that, just it would have sounded crazy because there's no reference point. There's literally no Bahamian that you could have seen doing that. And so when you think about doing it, one, the characters you're watching don't look like you anyway.
Right.
So there's that. Then there's the fact that the people who making it don't look like you. They don't sound like you. So to be as bold enough to just go, as a kid, I want to do that. It just didn't seem like that was possible. So now it's changed because like you'd have kids, not only are they have the internet at their fingertips, you know, they could see all this stuff. Kids getting tablets at what, like 6 years old.
Right,
They
younger
use
than
this
that, but you a
young
baby in
ones.
school
They're
with a tablet, bro.
like children, and they all over the place. Yeah. And so now it's like, I wouldn't, man, if a kid walk up to me and say, man, I can be a rocket scientist, I'd be like, yeah, he could do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't even question that. Like, you wouldn't even think nothing about it. But that's just what it was for us back then when it came to that kind of art.
Okay. Because, I always have these conversations to where it's like, in my artistic journey, a lot of things I do today you could have never imagined. And I've been making it up as I go with it, especially this last like through the 2010s and, sort of integrating social media, integrating this part, integrating that part, to the point where we do so much things in this yard. You have little kids saying, "Oh, where Mario is." But who would
inspiring them?
Yeah, because they like who would think, okay, in the Bahamas, we doing these different creative things, making comic books, making skit series, even on a traditional level, having all these famous painters, and they, under 40. So like, not the ones from yesteryear.
Yeah. About the ones who become legend. I know what you mean.
You were talking to Mike.
Oh, sorry.
You can pull the mic closer.
Pull it towards me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't hit myself in the mouth. But yeah, no, I mean, like that's the beauty of art. Like when it kind of gets to a point where then it inspires the next generation. Like even y'all shooting those videos outside of y'all yard and kids just seeing, oh, as an adult, these things that I like, there's a career in that. You know what I mean? Like and it's fun. And I think that's something that's dying. And like that thought process. Like when children think of jobs as adult, for some reason they think boring. Like, I gotta be sitting at a desk, or I gotta be churning the old. But now, like you see in YouTubers, hey, my name is their personalities, right? And that looks fun. Who don't want to have fun for the rest of their life, right? I mean, like I want to have fun. Really? I want to do something that I enjoy. So yeah, man, I think all of us living our dreams and doing that stuff, no matter how hard that may be, is what's needed for sure.
Indeed. So coming out of high school, so did you go to art school?
Actually, I didn't.
Okay.
I was asked this question earlier too. They was like, what's your academic background? And the thing is, I didn't traditionally go to like a college or anything, but I did do an apprenticeship with a Bahamian 3D animator. Oh man, this was like over almost 15 years ago. I'm that old, but because I was fresh out of high school, I couldn't afford the college thing at the time, so I kind of was just working. But then I met this guy. Really can't remember his name. And it kills me that I can't remember his name, but he did the animation for Doctor's Hospital. They had like this thing called.
Is he like this yay high with a fro glasses?
He didn't have a fro one back then. He's like bald head. He had like was bald.
Okay.
Anyway, but he took me in as an apprentice, and he was like teaching me Maya,
okay,
which was the animation software at the time, and giving me the fundamentals of animation. So I literally had to go there almost every day. And learn this thing. Like that was my academics into it. And of course, the people I connected with, my colleagues who do animation with me to this day, some of them went off to school and were fortunate enough to kind of exchange information. And of course, I just had the natural instinct to want to improve myself. But I always tell people, like, when it comes to education, I know a lot of parents, it's a hard decision for them to send their kids off to do anything art related. I understand that, but I mean, if your child is showing a serious interest in it, it is viable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to support that. And I would never tell any young artist, don't go to school, because there's that culture too where people go, well, you need school. I don't agree with that. I mean, there's always exceptions. I feel like I'm an exception. I definitely feel like I've gathered a lot of information. I'm talented, but that don't mean. Yeah, school. Who needs it?
Too cool for school.
No, man. No. Trust me.
And I feel if you had the chance to, you probably might.
I would have, and I still might. Like I still might go back and learn and like take up a course in maybe creative writing or something like that. Who knows? But at this point, because I'm in it, I'm doing it, and I'm producing work. It's just it's a little distant of a thought. But the point is,
because I always say the reason why I'm glad I went to school to learn how to be a filmmaker wasn't really just all right, well, obviously over time I could have learned how to mix audio or shoot or light, but it was some of the intangible things like understanding how to run a production and budget and a lot of the paperwork stuff, as well as building connections and network with international audience. Because I could have been in the Bahamas and learned this on job training or just going to UB. But it was more so certain exposures I needed. My mind needed to see the bigger picture and be like, yeah, I could be here, but I could touch all the way over there.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, so
Connections is great, and you absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
mm,
Yeah, so that was that's how things kind of progressed from there. But literally, when I got out of school, I did that apprenticeship stuff while I was working, and I was also producing a web comic with Staniel Russell. Shout out to Staniel Russell. Shout out to Nadia. They had a company called The Cage. That's where
The
I met-
Cage.
where I
yeah,
met
I've been
PG.
hearing about this fabled
man,
Cage.
the infamous Cage. And
Cage,
man, the
right.
Cage was it was lightning in a bottle, boy.
Real.
But that was like a breeding ground for like creative people, and that's actually where I met PG. I met a lot of good people there, and Stan and Nadia, they wanted to do a webcomic series, and so they had like this thing called Banwa Revolver, and me and Stan became kind of like close friends and partners, and we started working on producing comics with a couple of other Bahamian artists, and then from there we went to printing our own comic books, like getting them actually to print, which was Yeah Boy Magazine.
Yep.
Yeah, but Maggie.
Yeah.
I feel like I left the Bahamas in 2012 and missed out on a whole 5-year gap when all these little things happened. And by the time I came back in 2017, all of it, most of it was already gone.
It faded.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it all kind of rolled into what it is today. It's kind of like a snowball effect. Yeah Boy Magazine. Banwa Revolver, the website. Yeah Boy Magazine. Then me printing my books, and then me saying, hey, I want to do animation. So it was all kind of like.
So when did you decided, like, which year we're talking about when you decided to make the comic book and then go into print? Because I saw, because you started to break down years ago on Ernest Steer's platform about like how you got into it. But for the audience, take them through that process.
Yeah, no, like I was 20 when I was 18 when I met Stan, but I was 20 when we decided we would be doing the online comic stuff. So Stan already understood that platform because he had been on a website doing his comic for some time. So he was introducing us into how to set that up. So once he kind of laid that out, we understood the process. Okay, uploads, this is how you market it. This is how you push this. So from there, Stan was thinking, look, I want us to have our own version of a Shonen Jump in the Bahamas. And that was something he was really obsessed with, this idea of a Shonen Jump style Bahamian thing. And so I didn't know how to go about printing, but him and his wife, they really knew and understood that. And they introduced us to that as well. And so that would have been like, if we did the website, when I was like 19, 20, we would have done the print when I was about 21.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was not too long after that we did that. And then after that, we was printing a book for like an entire year. And I mean, like that was a very crucial point in my career in terms of art because I had never had to work on a schedule before. I always was working on my own time. So now we had to print this book every month. This book needed to be printed by.
So there's volumes. You all printing a volume a month.
This was like
wow.
Again, if you know how Shonen Jump.
Yeah, is a volume every month.
Yeah, and because it was like 4 stories in there. Like, so put it this way: if April, we just did one in April, right? And we go into May. I just did my book. Now I need to submit my entire chapter before the end of April, and that means you got to draw that, you got to color that, you got to put the text. That was when I say that was like. That was a lot of hard work.
Was there was major funding behind this? Or?
Man, that book would have still been around. But I mean, it was out of love and determination. Like we was doing it all out of pocket. We would make most cases we'd break even because we'd sell the books, put them in food stores and stuff like that. But I looking back on it, we wasn't making enough money, sure. But I look at it and say that was the time to really like tighten your skill because it taught me stuff that I didn't think about: how to edit your book better, how to draw faster, and how to balance your quality control and stuff like that. So that's what I thought the benefit was. Anyway.
Yeah, because in my mind, if we're doing it at such a low cost, I would just try to get the best thing out and then try to work that and then come with a Then instead of just going one after one after one after
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's you're right, and I feel like that's hindsight. You go, well, I would have done that this way, but for me, I was young. Like you gotta remember, I was like 21, 22, so and Stan would have been much older than me, and and I trust his judgment, and I think he did. I think what he did was smart, for the time anyway. I would say for the time, I think it was very smart to do it that way. And it did create a brand, and people did get familiar with it. And honestly, but if we had gotten the kind of funding that it could have gotten, it probably would have still been going on to this day. But it wasn't. We had to kind of like,
Okay. So tell us about the ups and downs as a Bahamian creative.
I mean, I feel like all y'all here know.
Yeah. No,
y'all
but
know.
just
For
tell
the
us a little bit.
audience.
Because I think
Yeah,
people
for the
don't
audience,
understand.
yeah.
Like, I could tell people 100 times. There's people that just think, oh, you having fun. I'm like, bro, you don't know how
Oh man,
long and hard days this
Let me
thing
tell you
is.
something,
And
let me tell you something. I could sum this up in one sentence.
go ahead.
We did Nassau Rock has a scene, right? That's just some characters running down this is an animated thing, again for context. That these characters running down this hallway. It looks amazing and it looks great. But the amount of work that it took to make that sequence, I mean, that took us about 2 to 3 months. And within that 2 to 3 months, that's funding too. We pull in a lot of money out of our pocket to, okay, these background needs to look good. We need to book studio time. So to me, that's the kind of stuff creatives over here dealing with. It's like I don't want to sound like I'm not being optimistic, because I am fully optimistic about us. But I will say we do have a culture of kind of like supporting things when the floodgates are already open. And I feel like that has to change, man. I feel like, as much as, even for me, like, as much as I was able to endure and just keep pushing my dreams, I can't sit here in confidence and say that it doesn't take from you, and sometimes that could be something that you can't recover from. You know what I mean? Like you talking stress, you talking you might develop high blood pressure. You might all these things that you're dealing with, but on the surface, you kind of hold it together. And when you, and again, creative people just be reaching out. And I know people like to point it out, well, ain't nobody know who you is, you're working on them. That's not true. A lot of creative people are, they write proposals. I've written proposals, countless proposals. I've gone to countless meetings. And, sometimes we just get that's not what we can afford right now, unfortunately. And you want to be optimistic, but then you see the money invested somewhere else. So I feel like that need to change. We need to stop acting like we can't afford to pay creative Bahamians to do creative stuff. Because at the end of the day, when we see it, we won't clap. That's us. It's great. Like, we're so excited about that when we see it. But wouldn't we want to be a part of that process of helping that? You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't know, man. To me, that needs to change. That needs to change like yesterday. Like, we need to be supporting these dudes, but our country could afford it, man. We need to stop acting like, some young guy saying, "Hey, listen, man, here's my proposal. I have a 1-year plan for this thing. I need $10,000 to kickstart this." $10,000? What? My God, what are you talking? Like, come on, man. Like, that's when you think about a business. That's like we gotta change the conversation. Is all I'm saying. I guess.
Yeah, agreed.
And on that note, we're going to cut to a break. I was like, I can let him cook. Because you preaching to the choir at this point, bro. We'll be back on Erryting Kool after these commercials.
Is your computer stuck in safe mode because of unsafe downloads? Are you tired of knockoff accessories that leave your device worse than before? Solve those problems and more here at Createch Bahamas, bringing tomorrow's technology to your doorsteps today.
Like I always, me and him always have these conversations. It don't necessarily mean based on ability, but because someone who you know, and there's already a tie inside there, and I've been working this tie for a minute.
We all rolling. Some of the people who get these challenges through connections. I mean, I ain't hating, but they ain't look good.
They're not even up to the standard.
They ain't look good.
I don't understand that.
So like, why are connections trumping good work?
Right. Like, why is that? And it's like, so what I think too? I think a lot of times, like, they look at, like for instance, like you, let's say you come with this idea, you're young guy, and you have this idea. I almost feel like they think, man, we can't put this kind of money in your hand, man. Like, what does he know? What is he gonna do? Yeah, like he's not gonna. But then my argument to that, my counter argument to that is like, why are we acting like a system don't exist to protect you from that? If you're a business, there's no situation where you're ever gonna just give me money.
Right.
I'm gonna have to. There's contracts involved. There's you would never just legally give me $10,000 and I just go, I ain't producing nothing. What world would that happen in? So there are things set up to protect you. I understand that you want to protect your investment. Then stop acting like you can't do that. But don't insult our intelligence by telling us otherwise. You know what I mean? And again, it becomes this thing where you see it happen anyway, and you feel a little burnt because as a Bahamian, you go, well, I mean, y'all just hired this Trinidadian company to do this animation. We ask y'all for,
right?
You know, and you start to wonder what's that about. I guess.
That's why I like playing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yes, you don't want to get them a discount, but you be thinking about it. Like, man, there's a BM company. They ain't got it. Let me get them on that 2% off. Right? And they just be like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why I play mafia tactics with a lot of people, bro. Like it's like sometimes I find as a creative, and I always voice this on this platform and all my platform, you sometimes have to get your hand a little dirty or whatever. Like it's like, I can go through the front door, but all right, since y'all playing like this, let me get to the person, know them, like go to their little party, massage them, work them for like a time, and then be like, man, da 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 da, and then. Every time I record something or make something, mass produce it to your phone. So, and you keep on seeing it and you see it for a time I can wave them and then I can come again. Yes. Like, so, but everybody ain't gonna be like, everybody ain't on that run. I willing to do it because I just vindictive like that. But,
if it works, it works. But you know what, even doing animation, like, if you look at even Walt Disney, right? I mean, Disney is the biggest company on the planet right now, essentially. These dudes own everything. And but when you look at his history, like Walt Disney, this dude grew up in like small town USA, you know what I mean? Where the biggest aspiration was to be a farmer. Yeah. But I mean, this dude was like, I want to draw. I want to do this stuff. And when he started to like, do animation and kind of really started to do those little shorts, and that's how he started. He started doing like newspaper stuff. Then he moved into doing shorts, these little short films. It wasn't something that like immediately caught on either. But one thing I always look at and I go like, man, our country need to get like that. And is that when Walt had that idea, even I think this was like, it might have been the 40s, 50s. He was able to secure loans for an animation company that nobody knew would work as a young businessman. And you have to think of how difficult of a decision that would be for some person with money to go, I want to invest in this person. But now look at Disney today. Right. Like it's employing millions of Americans, right? And I just think
millions of people, bro.
Millions of people. Forget Americans. They all over the place. But it all started with that. I could see something here. And I want us to operate in that kind of space as a country, So listen, if you're out there and you're staring right into this camera, right, and you have millions of dollars and you don't know what to do with it, right? Find a Bahamian creative. All they need 2%. 2% of that.
Everything will be everything cool. You see what they saying?
Come on, man. If we could make magic out of crumbs, right? I'm just saying,
right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
little piece of fun, then.
I'm just saying. Listen, and you know another thing that kind of like to me is like sometimes I don't want to go there, but I have to go there. I don't like to talk about race too much, right? Because I know everybody gets, it's race. But I will go here and say this, right? And leave it up to your imagination. You come to your own conclusion. A couple years back, there was this thing called Fire Festival, right?
Yeah.
Everybody know about that now, right?
Yeah.
Now, you tell me, when you watch that documentary of Fire Festival, and this dude had an idea, he didn't have any proof of concept, he didn't have any tangible way of showing you that it would work. He had an idea. You look me in the eye and tell me anybody other than a white guy could get the tens and millions of dollars that he got for that kind of idea. I mean, that was it. And he didn't know what he was doing anyway, right? So I'm saying, like, we got to stop pretending like trusting and building a relationship with young creative people doesn't exist. Because when I see that documentary and I see the willingness of, oh, well, how much you need, Brad? 40 million? Okay. Like, when I see the willingness to do that, there's a part of me that gets jealous. I'm like, but I'm here sweating and working my hip off, and I can't even get $5,000. You know, it's just, you get a little, you know, it's comical to say it, but you know, you do get a little, you get jaded, I guess. And I don't want to be jaded, you know.
And we're back from our commercial break.
That was the break?
No.
That was the best back from break ever. That's what we say.
Oh, man.
I thought we was rolling.
We are rolling.
That's
We are
staying
just
in.
as
All that's
like,
staying in.
yeah.
That'd be,
So-
we didn't have to record,
I
but no.
like how you said festival, and I was telling Chris about like the different pre-COVID how we had different musical festivals and how I discovered you as a musician first.
Right.
Then I for later learned that you was an artist. So tell us about how you got into music along this journey of becoming a comic book artist and an illustrator.
Well, like,
Into the mic.
oh, sorry. Yeah.
I mean, you could really, literally bring the mic.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music stuff, like I was always singing stuff growing up too. Even though I was drawing, I would always hum melodies. I never wanted to do music. I just liked the idea of melodies, but I was always writing songs. And it wasn't until like I was around the same time, like I was doing the comic stuff. I must have been like, I mean, seriously doing the comic stuff, like 18, 19, around that time. I like, cause my dad used to play guitar. And I was like, man, you know, I always wanted to play guitar. And one of my friends, his little brother had a guitar, and I was like, hey, show me some stuff. And he showed me one or two things, and I became obsessed with guitar. So even though I was drawing all the time, like I literally used to play that guitar every day. Like I played that guitar. And so because I played that every day, I ended up starting this band. I was like, hey, we should do like a folk kind of band thing. I brought Whitney on, I brought Fabian on. And we would just kind of like play guitar and write songs. It was all about writing songs. And then that just kept evolving. Really, it just kept evolving, and you just got better. I didn't have any training in that, so actually going out there and being on the performance circuit in Nassau made me a better musician, because you'd go out there and suck. You'd go there and legitimately suck in front of people. But there was something exhilarating about sucking. It's like, yeah, people, I don't know about that, you know. And you just go, okay, maybe not that note. And you go back to practice, and you blah, blah. And but the biggest turning point for me was playing music, not being too good at it, not being good at singing and playing for so long, and having people be kind of indifferent to your music, going, whatever. And then watching that gradually change. But that was so, like, that's such an impactful thing. It's like, you go from kind of everyone going, now we have Maz Joachin. Okay, let me get 2 drinks, a cigarette. Like everybody talking over you because they're like, hey, I want to hit these guys. They're going back on. We went from that to, and now foreign sound. All right, let me just sit up. You know, people kind of pay more attention. So it was like this shift for us that happened over time because we
So how did the formation of foreign sound happen? Because I was telling Chris, right? Again, because we was telling them like, yo, like it's a whole like due to the pandemic, you couldn't see this the last 3 years. Yeah. But pre-pandemic, you had a whole music scene, underground scene where you would go to different spots every week and see someone perform.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't one particular genre. It was like widespread.
I miss that so much because like, I mean, like there was so many different bands. You had like Motion Band, Essence Band, We the Few, my band, the Subculture. I mean, there was so many bands for so many different tastes, calypso bands, reggae bands. It didn't matter. But that scene, and we all knew each other too. And and that I want that. It's slowly coming back, mind you. Yeah. But that was the circuit, but you on a circuit and you start sharing billing with these dudes who've been around long. You start to feel like, hey, I gotta bring a certain level of performance, man.
Yeah, because I was talking about like, you know, stuff like sound waves and things like that, where, you know, I think when I came back home in 2017, I feel like that's where we was making a turn as creators, because now it's like I was telling Chris, I'm like, you would perform like if you wanted to put your own show, you would put your own lineup together, charge the door for you, sell your merch, and that's how you made your money.
How I made my money.
Like, you know,
yeah, but and I did that, and again, that stuff's rewarding. But like, you go and say, hey, what we want to have, like me and my good friend Roger, he had a band called We the Few, and we pretty much we combined our efforts. We was like, hey, let's do this thing called the Foreign Few, where we fuse our band performances. We got at the Black Box on Bay Street. We rented that out, and it was an amazing show. Like, we had so many people turn out. That was the biggest show we had in Nassau, to be honest. So stuff like that was exciting, and it was just putting it all together. And just to prove your point, before that, I could never approach any like venue and be like, I want to do a foreign sound show here. But it became so profitable, not just for us, but for these people, that I remember like going, man, we need to have a show. And I still do this to this day. I still have that kind of pull. I used to go, man, I need a show. And I would go to like places downtown and be like, hey, my band want to have a show here. And they'd be excited. They're like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's make it happen. That stuff didn't exist before, you know. And so that was cool. And I hope we get back to that.
I think that's going to happen. And I think it becomes easier because I feel once you done put your stain in the game, it's like you can't erase that Jews' minds.
That's true.
Whatever, like that's it forever.
I will say,
you know.
Speaking of music, I will say though, like this year, we trying to take that to new heights, and I want to get it. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I think every person who's here being creative, you have to expand, right? Whether that be online and reaching the world, but for me in particular with Foreign Sound, we've put out a music video now called The End.
Yeah, we was just playing it while we were
solid, man.
Yeah.
Go look at that video. And we're actually about to shoot another video for another single we're about to drop. And we're supposed to be doing a tour in Canada, actually.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, like legit in August. So, you know, the entire band is going to be going there for like a month, and we're just going to be playing all over Canada. And I mean, like, when I think about grassroots being here and playing over here and now going into a big country like that and performing, I feel like for any musician, artist, you have to branch out. I mean, I
always
country.
say that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you just have to.
Because you can't never, and I keep on saying this, like you only can get so far staying home. You have to jump on that jet and start shaking hands overseas and things like that. Like, you know.
I mean, it is what it is. And like in one show, you know, there's in one show there's like projected to be like 5,000 people. I've never played to that much people in my entire life. So I mean, and that's just one show. And you have to sit there and think, that's the kind of thing that any creative person in any different field, those are the kind of goals you want to achieve. You don't want to just sit and go, well, I hope someone discovers me. Sorry. I hope things work out. Sorry, you don't want to like say those kind of things. You want to go there and make sure you're doing everything that you can do to make that happen. So, Foreign Sound, 2022 tour, Canada. That's what we're trying to do. So that's where I hope that goes.
Solid, yeah.
So does the music sort of inspire you to, even though you have hiccups with the illustration and comic world,
right?
The music sort of, is there a release from that to like sort of settle you to get reinvigorated for this spectrum?
Yeah, I think they work hand in hand. I mean, it would have been different if I was like if I was a comic book artist and I was a surgeon. It's like they so different that I could imagine that pulling me apart a bit or something like that. But because like music and art, they kind of go hand in hand. A lot of times I find that when I'm working on my art, I'm listening to music and getting inspiration from that, or when I'm doing my music, it makes me think of scenarios for my art. So they kind of work hand in hand. Or in some cases, with Nassau Rock in particular, we needed to do sound stuff for the show. So I had to use my musicianship to create music and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I think those two things, if they weren't working in that facet together, I probably wouldn't be as excited about it. I would just be like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't do both. You can't be what's the saying? You can't be the master, not the master. But
Well, say jack of all trades is above none. But then it's a continuation to that phrase.
Yeah.
But that's better to have all of them than be the master. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
It's so, like, I was just talking about this to a friend the other day.
It's jack of all trade, masters of none. Oh, many skills have one skill. Okay, I see.
Okay, see that a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one.
Right.
So basically,
okay.
So,
And I get that because you don't want to get too like, you don't want to wear yourself thin, and I think that is important too. So thankfully for me, the things that I do dabble in, they complement each other.
Yeah,
and, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, even think about what y'all doing. Like y'all putting on skits, but like that's a whole production. Like you guys got to come with costume design. You got to come up with scripts. You got to do the music. You got to edit that. Like those are several jobs, often done by multiple people. But you know, you guys do that, and those things look seamless because someone watched out your video, well, saw it, or you know, whatever, and they don't even think about that stuff. But y'all know, you know.
Yeah, because it's a combination of us between we podcast and I work in media, PG work in media, and then we cosplay too. So it's just like bringing all these elements.
And they work together, right?
Yeah.
They complement each other.
Like
exactly.
Couldn't be no surgery.
That's what I'm saying. You was not coming home from operating on no one and setting this up. I mean,
all my cousins do that, babe.
Oh, he does.
Okay, Our cousin,
I really don't know.
this way is a junior doctor, but he got like 10, 12 businesses.
Right. Hey, shout out to that guy. If he doing that, you are amazing, Mike.
Oh, man,
I feel like he is someone enough to not be a doctor, though.
No, that's what I feel like.
I think everything else he could just fill in, and then
because he's he's a doctor. He's a bartender. He's a sell.
Wait. Go back.
Video game salesman.
You're telling me the doctor is a bartender.
Yes.
And you want me to be... So there's a chance that the guy who worked on my cast could be serving
you
me
up
drink.
I didn't even think they could do that.
Drinking is bad for your health.
Have a one.
Fucking crap.
Yeah, I just operated on
this
liver.
bartender, liquor connoisseur, because he really could tell you the breakdown.
Shout outs.
Look at y'all
all
bringing,
this stuff.
y'all bringing this bad business all on this show. But
promotion.
No, that's family, man.
Yeah.
So,
all right. But yeah, man, that's what it is. And we all know it. We all know it to be true. So, yeah, man.
So we've been saying this name multiple times. What is Nassau Rock? And how did you and your team come up with the concept of Nassau Rock? Like, give us like that timeline from inception to now, reality coming on to a screen near you.
Right. Well, Nassau Rock, the name, was a play on. Well, it wasn't a play on the words, but anyone know that? Remember that song, Bahama Rock?
Yeah.
Everybody dancing like that kind of funky.
Classic.
Funky Nassau from
Funky
Sydney.
Nassau, right? I think that's the name of the song. So I think it's two songs.
Yeah, that's two different songs.
It's two different songs, right? Because one is Bahama Rock and one is Funky Nassau.
Right.
Yeah.
Those
but
two
say
songs
from the same era, like
those two songs were like I liked what they kind of like meant. So I think in one of those songs they actually said Nassau Rock, Nassau Roll. Nassau has a whole lot of soul. Right. So I liked that idea. I think it kind of like encapsulated the kind of vibe he was going for. And so that's where the name came about with me and my team. And in terms of the show, when I originally said, hey, I want to do an animated show, I didn't know what type of show it was going to be. I just was like, we have all these talented people. Let me call up my close friends and say, this is the kind of project we're going to do. So Rashad Cash, who's a longtime collaborator of mine, Steven Catalano, animator, a good friend of mine as well, and then Chris Willie. They were the three people we sat around for a long time talking about what a Bahamas show, animated show would look like, what we would want, and then we just kept pulling our heads together, and then eventually it was like 3 students, they can go to school, to junior school, and then all I just started coming together, and we all collaborated on it like that. And so that's how the idea was born. And then we brought on 3 other people, Netware, Higgs, and Cindy Cindy,
The creator.
Yeah, Cindy the creator. I'm gonna be forgetting Cindy. I'm sorry, Cindy. She came on as a producer and helping us kind of organize. And then Cameron Johnson, amazing, talented artist. He came in with the academic background of animation and kind of tightened everything up. So that's a short, brief version of that, really.
Right.
And it's been one crazy ride. We've participated in festivals. We've connected with animators from across the globe. I am in contact with someone who has a show on TV right now in Canada. Guy by the name of John Hazlitt has a show called Wish Fart. Very funny show. And you just don't. When you come up with an idea like that, you never think that it would lead you there. But hey, you just glad you did when you did it. And that's been something that's been reoccurring in my life. I notice every time I say, man, I want to do this thing, and I really channel my energy into doing it, and it happens, I always look back and go, ooh, I would never do that again. And it's weird because you go, but you still challenge yourself to do something else. But I always look back and be like, wait, if I didn't say let's do a show like this at that specific time, I would, like, me now would never do that. Not to say that I don't love it. I love what I do and I'm going to continue to do it. But it's just like, if I'm trying to make a point, the point I'm trying to make is, if you have a feeling of, I want to do something, listen to that. Because that timing is perfect.
I see.
You know what I mean? And if you let that go, you might not have the strength to do it the way you need it to. Right. So that's what I'm trying to say, more or less.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Because I remember 2018. I don't even know. No, I mean, when I first saw like the trailer,
Yeah.
And I was like, no, because when I saw the trailer, I think I was at work. Because, like, at that
this was the first trailer before, because we had two trailers.
Yeah, the first trailer, like the initial conception.
Right.
And I was at work because I was at an advertising agency at the time. And I was watching it and I was like, wait, it's hard, wait. Because I was like, okay, the different, just having the Bayman characters. And I'm seeing other people, there's another show, sort of animated show I saw with had Shadfer and
I saw that,
and Leslie's voice acting on it.
Yes.
I can't remember what the show name.
I saw
Pardon me. So, like, I from then I was always pushing the envelope of, hey, like, we in this creative industry, let's stop creating with boundaries. Like, we can do whatever we want.
Yes.
So when I saw this, I was like, but I can't wait until to see what this was gonna happen. And then what's the name? And then y'all was kept on putting out teasers and things like that.
The quality change.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa,
Yeah, and then when I saw y'all finally got to going in festivals, so I was like, it's done. Because I was like, y'all was saying it's coming this time.
Yeah.
And then it was coming. So I was like,
what's happening? When is it coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the reality is, when you create a show of this quality and scale, it takes a lot of time. That's why I say, if I didn't decide to do it then, I probably wouldn't. I don't know if I would have the gumption to do it now. But because when you look at the scale and scope of what you're trying to do, there is this, you need a bigger team. There's only 8 people in my team.
Yeah.
And that's, for an animation, that's laughable. I mean, you just wouldn't, that would never exist, I mean, you would have to outsource. So some things we do kind of like do multiple jobs within the company. And if we have to outsource a background here or there, we might. But that's the thing that's kind of slowing down production. And when we talk about series, full-on 10-episode series, which we have written and mapped out.
So y'all only have like the pilot so far?
We literally have the pilot. And
Okay.
that's the reason, and like, again, with the pilot, you could try and pitch that to networks and see if they want to buy it. And then they're like, hey, let me purchase 10 episodes of this, or let me purchase 2 seasons of this.
Right.
And that helps fund the whole thing. Especially when you starting from grassroots like we are, I mean, like, it is what it is. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Bahamians are so excited about this show. And to me, that's the power of what we're trying to do. Because you could see, like, but people want this show. They want it.
Right.
And if people are willing to invest in it and give it what it needs, it could really happen. And we're gonna do our best to make that happen. I think I'm gonna quote myself here, but I think my company, they like to bring this up. They're like, well, you famously said to someone, can't mention the person's name, we was talking to a potential supporter. He's like, whether you invest in the show or not, it's going to happen. And that is very true. It's just that help in funding would make it happen sooner.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So in the same way I feel about all creatives, whatever we have that we want to do, we're going to do that. It's going to happen. You know, it's like it's like asking these dudes to stop breeding. They ain't going to do that. They're going to do that.
Right.
But if you want it to happen sooner in your lifetime and quicker, help them out.
So what we obviously most of us haven't seen the entire thing. So this, what's the runtime generally on this?
Well, the runtime is pretty much your average animated series. You know,
so it's like a 20-minute,
30 minutes or so.
Oh, okay.
But what we, you know, this is, I guess, this is the first time I ever really talk about this. So you'll probably be the first person to hear this. But
only on Erryting
exclusive
Kool.
man on Erryting Kool. But what we want to do is we want to do like a premiere. We're hoping that we can get it at Fusion. I think that would be great. And we're gonna try to do organize a premiere there, and we're gonna do it like an entire. So even though the animation may be like 30 minutes, the feature length runtime would still be like about an hour, because we're gonna do a lot of behind the scene footage and kind of like do like that.
Makes
so you
sense.
probably watch the episode, and after the episode, we go into the behind the scenes stuff. So as an audience member, you get to participate in what it was like for us to make it.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? Just so it could feel a little bit more filling to sit there and watch this thing on a big screen. I think it would be pretty awesome.
I'd say, but put in reverse. Do the behind the scenes first and then the episode, so people don't leave.
Yeah.
Right. So people don't leave after the episode.
Because they could be like, what they want to watch this for?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like they would. The reason I'm confident that they would is because the scale of what it is. Because unlike one,
Yeah, they're still supporting it regardless.
Yeah,
so, like, you know.
it's
Makes
like
sense.
if you go to Disney and watch a show and you see the credits roll and then you see after credit stuff, you're gone because it's Disney. I don't care how y'all make this, unless you're someone who's really into that stuff.
Right.
But if it's a Bahamian doing something like that and you watch this amazing animation and it ends and then you see this dude start talking, you can sit up. I guarantee people go like, oh, okay, this is how this made. Just off of that alone, I don't think people would leave. I mean, who knows, right? But I get
people ain't learn from Marvel films.
I know, right?
Yeah,
They're still walking out.
Yeah.
They still walking out. That's very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did the international audience react to seeing this?
Man, listen, mate. Listen.
Because that's what I really dying to know. Because I'm like, ain't nobody
that's
really
right.
see this. But
there are people who've seen it now. There are people who've seen the trailer. Like I said, we did.
I seen the trailer. Yeah,
we entered that into a couple of festivals, and
also
then
y'all entered the trailer.
we entered the trailer in the festival,
Okay.
and then the animator who I told you about earlier, the guy who has a show in Canada.
Yeah,
He's seen our entire pilot. Like he's seen it,
yeah.
right? And like these dudes love it, and we've gotten so many like, hey, let me refer you to this animator. I want you to link up with this producer. I want you, because people see it and the quality right away. They're like, okay, that alone shows them they got it, right? But then beyond the quality, they look at the content and they go, boy. Well, they don't say boy, but they go,
That's what you want to
that's
say.
what I would want them to say after
Right.
watching the show, like
Yeah.
catch on to some Bahamian lingo. But they go like, hey, like this kind of show is what people looking for. They look like more diversity. It's a different kind of culture, and people looking for that sort of stuff on Netflix and Disney and stuff like that. So, like a lot of people kind of like going, we need to get you all in this door. We need to get these. So on an international market, like people are excited. Like people see it and they get like, oh man, do y'all know what y'all have on your hands? I've been told that too. Like, but do you know what you have on your hands right now? This is like, this is a gold mine, you know? And I mean, I believe in it. Obviously we believe in it. But sometimes you do need that reassurance. It's like, man, is this
Yeah,
good?
but sometimes you need to get out your own head.
Yeah.
like,
So it's good to hear someone go who don't know you, because these people don't know me. They don't owe me nothing. They could care less. They go, but this is a gold mine. Like you guys have something special here, and so yeah, man. That's what keeps me going. That's what makes me feel like we're on the right track, I guess. Yeah.
All right. So because do we have like a potential release date?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like give that since we doing the scoop.
Well, yeah, like I said earlier today, I had an interview and I told the students there that we had officially discussed that we're looking at the summer. So either we're thinking between July.
Because it have to happen before you go on tour.
Well, even if I'm on tour and not like it would still. No, I want to be at the premiere. No,
That's what I'm saying.
I'm like,
I would want to be there. No, I can't. But yeah, no, we're definitely trying to do this in the summer this year, and obviously without saying too much in terms of production, it's pretty much we're wrapping up.
Okay, so it's just the final.
Yeah, we got it. Little technical stuff we doing, but yeah, all the voices have been recorded, and so you can go on our Instagram page and see that stuff. It's some fun behind the scenes stuff. Shout out to Kadish, amazing.
Yeah, we had Kadish here at least
like Kadish,
2-3 times.
Kadish, his voice alone is like this Nassau Rock,
the Emperor Jules,
vital lead. That guy, he's
good.
class act, man. And shout out to all our voice actors and everybody who's a part of this thing and could see the potential of it. Ultimately what I would want, I'm still waiting for a government official to reach out to us, right?
They ain't gonna reach out, bro.
I think they will.
They when they gonna reach out when you invite them to the Fusion premiere.
Yeah, and that's going, and that's trust me. I want Mr. Brave Davis. I voted for. Anyway, my point is, and they seem to have a real. I will say that our government now has started to really appreciate what Bahamian creatives can do. Yeah. So I just I'm really trying to connect with them more so too. And that don't always mean give me money. Yeah. It could mean, hey, let's do a school thing where some of our animators visit some schools. You know what I mean? And that sort of thing. So yeah, those are the kind of things I want to do. Maybe help some kids out in the government school system because I came from government school. You know what I mean? So again, reach out to us.
Reach out. Because I think, how you, like I say, a lot of artists don't want to play the game. So these the games you have to play. It ain't no choice around it.
No, man, this is a business. This is, we must not forget, yes, it's creative. Yes, we're having fun, but it is a business. Yeah. You want to make your livelihood off of this thing. You want to feed your family. You got to treat it like a business. So I have no problem. Me personally, I have no problem doing that and meeting these people. I could be very professional. Don't mind the jokes. Yeah. You have to be professional to organize the kind of thing that I organize, and there's no way a goofball could pull it off. I don't think they could. So yeah, I trust me. That's my biggest goal. When this thing premieres, I want us to be in partnership with our government because I do feel like that's what's needed for something like this. Because it ain't just a show, buddy. This is our identity we talking about as Bahamians. It's a cultural thing too. So,
cool question. Would there be a manga side to Nassau Rock?
We flirted with the idea, but I can't really say right now. But I do know we'll be releasing the Art of Nassau Rock booklet.
Because I was going to ask you if there was going to be merch too.
You know how much content? There's so much. We have so much content that ain't seen the light of day behind the scenes stuff. When we release that as a booklet, it's gonna be a thick book. Right. I think people are gonna love that, because all kind of artwork and that, great stuff, dog.
Looking forward to it.
It really is. Because I was gonna ask you for much. Because I one of before I really even see the characters. One of the characters I like so far is Golden Head.
Golden Head, yeah, man. He from the series. He ain't even in the spoiler. I don't think he's not even in the first episode, but he's
okay.
Yeah, man. You saw the characters.
Man, you done doing the research, right? He done know what's going on.
Man, that's solid. Man.
No, because it's
bring them to me, Golden Head, babe.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but that too, this is why I know, babe, this show, Bahamians gonna love this show, babe, because there's so much little specific things that Bahamians will get. But an international market could get it too, Right. But Bahamians have that special enjoyment of it. It's this place go to private school and he's better than them. And the girl who's the new girl, who daddy is a lawyer. And it's all these different little things in Bahamian culture. They catching a jitney and stuff like that. But you short me quarter. Those kind of
right. Little quirky stuff, right.
Things that Bahamians could, a wink to the Bahamian audience. You know what I mean? It's we know. So yeah, man.
So what's next for you, Maz, on this creative journey?
I said it all just now, to be honest with you.
No, but okay, so after the tour and after the premiere, you just be like, yo, I about to be a millionaire after this.
Listen, man.
Just let the money drop.
Let the money drop.
Just let the buy come.
The money needs to happen. And that's just so I could support my team and my dreams and kind of like all of you guys know this, man. You know, we want to be able to do this stuff without having to get up in the morning and go do the 9 to 5 circuit, you know. And it's not because you don't value it, it's just because you know what your calling is. That's I may do films. I think that will be the next thing for me. I think I may get into like feature-length animated films with my company. Like after we sell the series or produce the series ourselves, I think I would want to get into like feature films, animated feature films, and directing those.
Now, one thing I gotta ask about future plans. Going on release dates and stuff like that, going back to the foreign sound aspect of things. I think you know what's coming up now. I think you know what's coming up now. This EP also has been dropping from a long time.
We did drop an EP. It was Come of Age. We did drop that. That's still on iTunes.
So y'all did drop it.
Yeah,
I missed it then.
No, I think you did see that. You did listen to that EP. But what you're probably referring to is we had another project that was titled 20 something. That was supposed to drop. Right. We did video shoots, we did photo shoots and all that stuff. We didn't release that because, and it's the things you learn in the process too, we had recorded all the music, spent all kind of money out of pocket on this music, and we weren't satisfied with the production stuff because we didn't know anything. The music was fine, but the production was lacking and stuff like that. So we just scrapped that idea. We just wasn't satisfied by it. So we went with our old-time collaborator, Sherwood Ramming. Shout out to Sherwood.
Yeah.
You know Sherwood.
Yeah.
We had him
friend of the show.
He's on friend of the show. Yeah, shout out to my boy. He's a really talented guy. And we went to him. He's like, hey, you know, we want to reapproach these songs. So that's what we've been doing for the past year. Just reapproaching our songs, trying to get a better recording and stuff like that. And so we actually finished recording all the songs for that album last year. But now we're, you know, music has to be mixed and mastered and that kind of thing. So we have another single coming out, like probably coming out in the next month or so. Drowning is the name of that song. We play that live. So you probably, if you come to the Foreign Sound Show, you probably heard it. Yeah. But we're going to be releasing that. And there's like about 10 songs on the album. And our hope is to have this album, released before the fall, right? We want to, and in fact,
after tour.
I would even say we want to have it before the tour because I think when I talk to my lead guitarist, who's my like partner in business when it comes to the band, he brought up a good point. We want to have the music to carry with us on tour. Album sales. We talking, hey, you could go on Spotify. So the music already recorded, really. So we just need to get it completely mixed and mastered. And even a side point to bring up to you is we actually, Foreign Sound is under new management. For the longest time, I was managing Foreign Sound and I just have too much stuff going on. And I just realized I couldn't do that, dog. You know, I was like, I can't do this no more. I can't get it to where, so I pretty much reached out to my friend Thomas, who has a clothing line and a small label in Canada. That's the guy who set up the tour for us, and he's managing the band now. And so that was one of the best decisions I ever made, to be honest with you, because it just takes away all the stress of dealing with that. So
great.
I say that to say that with it under new management, things could get out quicker. You see,
I got you. Yeah, good thing you cleared that up. I have a friend who always had my throat strangling me. Because she liked to come to all live performances, right? She come, when they release an EP, because I told her it was coming out, right? And he's like, boy, look like I support a Foreign Sound. I know he's I know that's
Trust me, I feel so bad. And then people come wearing, see some people wear the shirts. Wear the album. Not like, boy, that's
people waiting. So that's a good thing y'all know that people waiting.
It's a good thing, but it does weigh on your mind, but you feel like you letting these people down, like, man, with this album.
Would it be like actually foreign sound songs in Nassau Rock type of thing? Have y'all thought about?
That's true.
Y'all even bundling the merch?
I don't know if y'all did it. No, sorry for me bundling. I don't know if y'all did it, but y'all should do a cameo in Nassau
you know what's
Rock.
funny? Technically, right? I think it would be foreign sound because most of the collaborators on that soundtrack version of it are people from my band or previous musicians that operated in the band. So technically, yes. But funny enough, you talk about cameos. I do that stuff all the time. But like if you read my comic books, I have my characters wearing foreign sound shirts just in the background. So I always do stuff like that. I think little Easter eggs would be funny. But yeah, even in the show itself, who it was it Ash? I had one of the characters. I remember writing one of the characters listening to foreign sound or something like that. And I like to pick fun of myself.
I just gonna say,
yeah, like I like
just make fun of it. Though.
I like to pick fun of myself. So I was like, you listen to that crap? Like that's to me. Like I think that's funny. Like,
yeah,
I don't take myself too gotta take yourself serious.
Yeah, you gotta laugh and joke.
Our merch bundle would be superb, bro. Yeah, like with the foreign sound and Nassau Rock all bundled up. So
coming soon, coming soon. But but thanks for having me though. I will say I always enjoy sharing and talking about this stuff. So.
And this was an excellent audio adventure. We learned so much things, and we look forward to seeing what you got. Actually, well, not even what we got was we know what's coming, but just the be there when it come and drop it, just to be immersed in those various moments, and just to see other Bahamian creators just pushing the boundaries, expounding the minds, and making it known that anything is really possible.
Absolutely. I will say too, if anyone watching this and they haven't seen any of our work,
all links in the description below, by the way.
You can check out our Nassau Rock trailer right now. You can also check out my music video for my band, Foreign Sound The End. Check that stuff out and share it. Talk about it.
Share it. Share it. Like, Bishop, the singing Bishop. Bishop share it. Well, thank you again for coming to another episode of Erryting Kool. Peace and love. AFC.